Hi there everybody, welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Chrysler PT Cruiser. This is a 2002-2003 model, and basically it belongs to a friend, and what's happened to it is that he says that the car starts fine, and then he's driving it, he drives it along, and then it sort of starts giving him a bit of it kind of slows down a bit, and it keeps going and whatnot. And then what he described is that when he gets to wherever he's going, he switches the car off, and then he can't start it again unless he waits for a while for it to cool down, and then he can restart it. So I'm just having a quick look today at what fault codes there might be stored, and what I found so far. So this is the PT Cruiser. The engine light is on. So the car is, at the moment it's not running, but I know that the engine light is on, and I have basically these two fault codes that can be causing this engine light and this situation, specifically the camshaft position sensor. This sensor, it causes issues on many other cars. So when it starts to go wrong, it basically does exactly what he described. When the car is hot and you switch it off, it refuses to start again until it cools down. So whatever happens to the camshaft, the sensor itself inside of it must be heat related. And the oil pressure sensor here, what I've noticed is the engine light, the oil pressure light was coming on when I started the car. Went to check the oil quantities and it was on low. So my friend is not very good at keeping the car with oil, or he just doesn't check it as he should, really. So what I'm going to do is I have ordered one of these sensors. I'm going to replace it, and hopefully that's going to fix that issue. It is a common issue in many cars, not just talking about this particular PT Cruiser, but I have experienced the same issue in many other cars, Mercedes, Vauxhall, Ford. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace that. That's the fault code there, P0340. And the oil pressure one, again, I'm going to delete this fault code, and now that I top up some oil, we'll see if it comes back. But these other fault codes here are, he had a dead battery and whatnot, so they're not quite relevant at the moment to me. Ultrasonic sensors, they're not really something that would cause the engine light. So if I start the car now, car starts, engine's very smooth, idling just fine, so engine light is on. Oh, I can see that oil pressure light is on. So that's interesting. It might be that the oil pressure sensor is actually playing up. So I'm gonna clear these fault codes here, and you will see engine light will technically go out, but it will only go out if it detects the camshaft sensor being cold and being not at fault. But if it's detecting it's at fault, it will not. So that's remaining on there. And also I can see that the oil pressure fault has not been deleted either. So I'm just gonna let this do its thing. Okay, so those two others have been reset, but these two have remained, and I just want to check. So the cars got oil, and that light shouldn't be on. Okay, with this particular machine, I've noticed that sometimes to delete fault codes, you need to be inside of the particular module that you're looking at. So we got those two, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to delete them from here. See if that does anything. And it hasn't really deleted. Well, I think it's still doing something, so we'll wait for that. Okay, so it says the engine cannot be running to right. Okay, right. Okay, has that actually deleted? Yes, it has. It has deleted the faults, but we'll see once I start the car now. Okay, so it has deleted the two faults that were there. So now what I need to see is whether the oil pressure one will come back or not. But the actual camshaft sensor, although we were able to delete it before, it did come back a few times, and obviously he has the issue where the car is hot and it just will not restart. So well, let's see how we get on. I'm gonna change the sensor now. Okay, so this is the this here is the camshaft sensor I order. So that's what it looks like, and this is held in by two 8mm bolts. So I've got this little ratchet here that I'm going to use to undo those. Remove that, and you need to unplug it from the electrical connection there, and that's it really, and refit the new one. It's not really that difficult job, so let's get cracking with it. So here we're at the car. That's the new sensor there, and the sensor we want to remove is that one there. So I can just about get my ratchet in there and undo that bolt, and then we want to undo the other one, the other bolt there as well. So they're not really in there very tight. But obviously we have the air filter box on the way here, so it can be a little bit fiddly, but it's not terrible. Just be careful so you don't drop the little bolts. So there's one out, and then we have this other one. Okay, 2 bolts out. Now we should be able to technically get that out. Okay, so the sensor is out. Here's our sensor, and we just want to unplug it. So we need to sort of push this little red tab to one side. Otherwise it doesn't let you press the clip. I think it needs to be out a little bit more. Okay. Right. So that's out. Now we can press this here and sort of pull this out. So press the clip down here and get this out. Right, so the old sensor is out. A little bit of oil dripping here. And maybe we can just clean the surface where the new sensor is going to sit. Just clean it a little bit here. You can get your new sensor, plug it in there. Make sure it clicks in. Okay. Okay, got the 2 little bolts in there. Those bolts, don't tighten them too much, otherwise they will break or damage the thread. So make sure you don't over tighten them. It's very small. I'm using a tiny little ratchet here, which doesn't allow me to apply much force to that sensor, to the bolts. So make sure you don't, otherwise if you damage that, then well, I'm not sure whether you'll be damaging the thread on the actual head there or the actual screw, but either way it would be tragic. So like, it's almost like finger tight what I'm doing here. Just a little bit of force here with my ratchet. I can carry on doing it with this. I can carry on tightening those until they snap. It's very easy. They're like butter. So right, let's get the car running and take it for a little test drive. Right, so before I start the car, I'm just plugging in my OBD, and then I'll start it and take it for a little test drive, see how it behaves. Okay, the computer's done its check. It's come up with one fault, which says engine oil pressure sensor circuit low. So the oil pressure sensor is something I'm gonna have to have a look. But Now I'm going to start the car first time after changing the camshaft sensor. And that started fine. So I do need to take it for a little drive. The guy told me that the car sort of, he used the expression as it chugs. It chugs when you're driving it, so I'm not entirely sure what that means. I think it means it sort of stops. It kind of wants to stop and keep going, stops and goes, something like that. But I'll take it for a little test drive now. So the car is actually driving quite well, apart from the oil pressure light being on. There's no real issues. I don't feel any issues at all. So so I'm thinking that camshaft sensor solved the issue here. However, the oil pressure light is still on, so that's something I might have to change. So I'm just gonna run the diagnostics again, just to see if anything else comes up there apart from the oil pressure sensor situation, and hopefully not. Engine light hasn't come on either, so far good news regarding the previous fault. The car has also reached temperature, its normal running temperature. So in a minute I'm gonna switch it off and switch it on again, make sure it switches on. Right, so far so good. Let's switch this off and on again. Oh, actually I'm gonna wait for that to finish and then switch it off. Okay, let's go for it. So car starts fine, and funny enough the oil pressure light is gone off. Not sure what is going on there, or if it was related to the camshaft sensor at all. Not sure why, but let's try to delete that fault code. I think it said the engine has to be off to delete that fault code. But in any case, this here is good news in a way. Maybe my friend will have to keep an eye on that, and if need be we'll have to change the sensor, but he will have to keep an eye on the oil level of the car, obviously, so he doesn't run low. So yeah, that didn't delete because I'm supposed to switch the engine off, so we can switch it off now. Leave the ignition on. Okay, so that's the fault code there, but we'll go ahead and clear it because it's disappeared from the car anyway. So right, let's wait for this to decide to work. Right, no DTCs. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now there's no DTCs there, and engine starts, oil pressure light goes off, and everything is running quite smoothly. So all in all, I mean, I hope the video helps. If you have to replace the camshaft sensor anyway, I am not sure. I don't think the camshaft sensor and the oil pressure light are related, but in this case scenario, for whatever reason, that oil pressure light has disappeared on its own after I test driven the car with the new camshaft sensor. So if there is a relationship there, I am not sure. But having said that, I hope the video helps. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. So thank you for watching.